Hello guys, it's Yule, and in this video I'll show you guys how to draw when you have a minor piece against your opponent who has a pawn. And I say draw because usually in these positions the side with a pawn is better because you can't checkmate with a single minor piece, well except in very specific cases, but usually you can't checkmate with a single bishop or knight. Whereas the pawn, if it promotes to a queen, it's really bad because the queen easily wins against a minor piece if you watch the previous videos. So let's begin with the bishop. It's a bishop versus pawn, and we're playing as white. So in these positions, it's incredibly easy to draw because the bishop has long range capabilities. So here all we need to do is place our bishop on diagonal where it can stop the promoting square, which in this case is b1. So a good move here would be bishop to g6, which is also check. And after something like king to c1, we can simply wait on this diagonal with bishop f5. And if he pushes his pawn, we don't need to do anything. We can just keep going like bishop g6. And here we don't even need our king's help because our bishop has such a nice long range capability. And if he ever promotes, then we just take, and this will be a draw. So with bishops, it's incredibly easy because they have long range capabilities. But if you have a knight, things are a little more difficult, but it's still an easy draw. And usually you don't need your king's help either. So here we're playing as white again, and I think a good move here would be knight to b3 check, which not only checks the king, but also blocks the square c1, which is the promoting square. If we play something like knight to e4 instead, black can play king to e3, and here our knight doesn't have any squares to go to. And if we do something like knight to c3, then he makes a new queen. And a queen against a knight easily wins. So we don't want to play knight e4. We want to play knight b3 because it blocks c1, which is the promoting square. And after something like king to c3, which I think is the best move, because if he plays something like king to d1, then he's not making any progress because the square is still blocked. So I think his best move would be to play king to c3, which attacks our knight and forces us to do something. Well, here the only move is knight to c1 because all the other moves simply give up the c1 square. So after something like king to b2, which attacks our knight again, I think a good move would be knight to e2 because here the c1 square is still blocked by our knight and we have created this force field against the black king, and he now can no longer attack our knight because both of these squares are illegal. And if he does want to attack our knight, then he has to play this long route and go all the way here. So if he plays king to b3, this gives time to bring our king here to f4. And after king to c4, we play king to e3. And all his dreams of winning are lost because, well, now our knight is defended and he can't do anything about it. And the c1 square will be blocked forever. I'll end this video with one last interesting example, where in this case, the knight actually wins against the pawn. So it's our turn to move. We're playing as white. If you want, you can pause the video and think about it, or I can explain this to you. Okay, so here our best move would be to play king to f2, because if we were to do something else, then black's king will get out and there's obviously no way to win. So after king to f2, his only move is king to h1. And after knight f5, which is the correct move, he has to play king to h2, because if he plays h2, then knight to g3 is checkmate immediately. So here he has to play king to h2, which after knight e3, he is forced to go back to h1. And we have this really nice move, knight to f1, which stops king to h2 and prevents him from repeating the position. Here he is forced to play h2, and after knight g3, we get this really nice checkmate in the corner. So in very rare cases, we can win, but normally the pawn is stronger because the pawn has promoting capabilities, but the pieces don't. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thank you.